Today, we are going to speak about solving anxiety from a spiritual perspective. The truth is, many of us experience anxiety, which is defined as a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something within an uncertain outcome. Welcome to my channel, where I offer you different insights, tips, tools, and teachings to live your best life, mind, body, and soul. I'm Casey Lepper, a licensed psychotherapist, a spiritual guide, healer, and coach. And these are all the topics that I find myself talking to a lot of different couples, individuals, and families on, and I'm sharing them with you as a resource to help you evolve and expand. So back to anxiety from a spiritual perspective. In my experience, anxiety is a feeling that tells us that something's out of harmony, similar to when our body's sick. We experience fever, we don't really feel good, we feel hot, cold, clammy. Similarly, anxiety is giving us information about something that is needing to be healed, shifted, or let go of. Now, what could be out of harmony? What's out of harmony with my body? What's out of harmony with my mind and my soul, my relationships? On the level of the mind, it could be thought patterns. So consistently thinking of our worst case scenarios. I have another video linked here where it talks about negative thinking and how to work to change those patterns. And so often acute anxiety or short-term feelings of worry and unease do stem from how we're thinking about it, and it's related to fear. So that's on the mind level. But anxiety is also able to tell us when we're not on a correct path, when we're out of alignment or integrity with our values. And truly what I've seen is if we ignore this information when it comes up, we can start to disconnect from our intuition. We can downplay it, avoid it, or really numb it. And this is when chronic anxiety comes up, when people aren't listening to that instinct. They're not leaving the relationship. They're not leaving the job. They're not doing what they're dreaming about for fear or for worry. And so when we're out of that alignment, when we're not in our path, we're going to feel a sense of dis-ease. Because you're never going to feel completely peaceful if you're not doing and living in the way that you ought to be. And not ought to be determined by someone out there. What you know within your heart and soul you want to be doing, what you desire. On the other hand, when we are living in alignment with our heart and our soul and our desires, we're going to feel so much more passion, joy, satisfaction, and ultimately we're going to feel peace, even through the hard things. When we first take that leap, we may feel challenge. We might feel fear and experience all the resistance that's going to try to stop us. But usually in the midst of it, if we feel our heart saying yes and we persevere, it's going to get us on the right path. So if you're experiencing anxiety, ask yourself, am I on the correct path? Is your day-to-day reflective of your values, your gifts, and your abilities? In your heart, do you believe that you are where you need to be? When we don't listen to our heart, our soul, our intuition, we're going to feel anxiety. And it's actually a beautiful way our energy system likes to help bring something to our attention. Many years ago, there was a moment where I felt like I was stagnating. I really wasn't hitting my mark. I wasn't feeling the joy, the passion, the excitement, and the inspiration every day. Things felt that they hit a stopping point. And what was happening is I knew I was in a relationship that wasn't working for me. And every time I asked myself, is this the relationship I want to continue on? Is this the person that I want to be with? My heart was saying no, but my mind was thinking, well, where am I going to live? How am I going to do this? Where am I going to work? Like my mind came in and it was preventing me from connecting to my heart by creating all this turmoil and all this confusion and distraction. And so I was listening to my logic instead of my heart. And I felt like as a result, I really wasn't living with a lot of flow in my life. The moment everything came to a head, and I said, I have to listen to what my heart's saying. And it's saying that this is not the relationship that's going to serve my best self. As soon as I said yes, some insane things started happening. My condo that was rented for a year, the people decided to move, and so my condo opened up. I could move back. This other opportunity opened up. This other person came into my life to help me. The second I said yes to myself and I finally listened to my anxiety and said, what is this trying to show me? What's not in harmony? And it was this person in my life. Then everything began to flow and the universe met me with that yes. So sometimes you have to say yes. You have to be willing to risk discomfort and all the things that your mind is going to tell you that you're going to lose by listening to your heart. But every experience I've ever had, whether it's my own or helping people find their heart-based action, when you say yes and you open up, you're going to feel more flow. You're going to feel more harmony. And when we listen to that anxiety and we are curious about it, you can end up learning what you need to change. It tells you, maybe it's a thought, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a pattern, maybe it's a habit. Listen to what your anxiety is telling you. It's not a bad thing to have anxiety. It's quite natural. But if we don't end up listening to it, we don't end up taking care of ourselves because of it, it's going to create long-term chronic anxiety. So while anxiety is telling you something that's not in harmony within yourself, it can also tell you something's out of alignment in your environment. It could also be a person, like my example was, or it could be a place. I want you to think for a moment that the fact that everything is putting off energy. And sometimes the energy feels good, and sometimes it feels bad. So maybe if you imagine walking into a room with 10 people who are thinking poorly about others, the energy of that room is going to give off a certain vibration. Alternatively, think about walking into a room with 10 people thinking positively and lovingly, and that space is going to feel a lot different. We don't always pay attention to the energy of places, but it truly impacts us. It's important to be aware of how certain places or certain people affect what we're thinking about, what we're worried about, if we feel open or contracted. As with places, people also give off energy. And I'm sure we've all been around the people who make us feel lighter and more positive after being around them. And then there might be some that don't make us feel so light. In other words, we really pick up the energy of what's around us. So if you're feeling an uptick in worry, anxiety, and unease, ask yourself, is this within me or outside of me? Start paying attention to how you feel in the moment, which takes present awareness. But when you do this, you can learn this is something I have to change, or this is an external situation. Think about what it's like to have been on vacation, traveling for 3 days, and not shower. Usually we kind of feel a little angsty and uncomfortable because we don't feel very clean. Well, the same is true with our energy system. If we're around a lot of negativity or a lot of low vibration, our energy system is going to absorb that. It's going to feel some of that debris. And so recognizing, oh, this is something that I've just picked up on and it doesn't have to do with me, is a really empowering place to start and understand, what can I do to alchemize or to shift this vibration? Anxiety isn't something we need to avoid, numb, or stop. It's something we need to listen to. And while there are so many great interventions that help us regulate our nervous system and our anxiety, we have to seek to understand what it's actually telling us. What's at the core of that feeling of anxiety? What's out of harmony with your body, with your mind, and your soul? So this is what I want you to walk away from this video thinking. Anxiety is not bad. It is a sign that something's wrong, that something's not working. Similar to how a fever tells us something is within our system that needs to be looked after, healed, or changed. Anxiety is telling you something is out of flow and out of harmony. And then you work to understand, is this harmony outside of me? Is it an environmental situation? Is it a person? Is it a place that maybe had some negative energy that I picked up on? Or is this something inside of me? Is it my thoughts? Is it my avoidance of listening to my heart and going in the direction of what my intuition is saying? Am I not on my right path? Am I not doing the things that make me feel fulfilled, valuable, and worthy? We can't be afraid to leave the things that aren't serving our best interest. And remember, our anxiety that comes up is telling us that there's a change or a wound that needs to be healed. And as long as you listen to your intuition, to your heart, you can move through it and get out of this cycle of anxiety. Anxiety is not just a mental problem. It's a spiritual and energetic problem. And if you're only focused on solving anxiety and not really listening to the core of what it's trying to tell you, then you're never going to get away from it. But I've seen in my own life and so many people I've worked with, if you listen to the message of what it's trying to tell you, you will overcome anxiety and you will utilize the short-term stress or worry that comes in a far different way. You can be free from anxiety if you look at the bigger picture.